And welcome to Huntington, West Virginia and the Joan, where it's time for college football. His name is Doug Chapman. My name is Chad Bush. We're ready to bring you football on this Saturday, the first matchup for both these clubs here on this season. Doug, many storylines surround this ball game. Second-year head coaches, both coming off of winning seasons in 2021, but a lot of storylines developing in the offseason in the recent weeks. Tell us all about what we can expect here today.
Saturday in September, where else would you rather be, Chad, than at watching college football? You talk about some of these storylines. You look at them for Marshall. Can they run the football effectively with arguably the best running back in college football out? For Norfolk State, can they stop this vaunted, high-powered, up-tempo Marshall offense? Can they slow the game down? What can they do? We talked about Rasheen Ali. You see him there, led the nation in rushing touchdowns, over 1,400 yards. That's a lot of production. The kid was an All-American, won't be back for a few weeks. He's out today, so what do you do? It's a next-man-up mentality. That's what Coach Charles Huff has. And if you look at next man up, you see Ethan Payne here, sophomore from right down the road, Poco, West Virginia. Different runner than Rasheen Ali, very north and south guy, hard-nosed back. You'll also get a lot of Kalen Layburn, also transferred from Florida State, 6-year guy, journeyman, been through a lot of situations away from football, but found his home here in Huntington.
Charles Huff in his second year had a relationship with Layburn. In the past, those things matter. Layburn remembered that. He was working in a lumber yard. He says, I want a second chance, Coach. And Coach was there for him. Charles Huff, that's what makes him great. He leads this Marshall team coming off a New Orleans Bowl appearance last year. He seems to have this program in the right direction.
Absolutely, Layburn, uber-talented guy. He's from the 757 area, grew up right down the street from Norfolk State, 5-star player coming out of high school. Marshall's very lucky to have him as a backup, like I said, when you're losing someone like Rasheen Ali.
Meanwhile, Norfolk State comes in. They had a winning season a year ago. They also come under the leadership of a second-year coach in Dawson Odoms. They were picked to finish third in the MEAC, and look, they've got no slouch at that running back spot in Mr. Davis.
Yeah, he led the MEAC. You talked about it. Smaller back, very dynamic, shifty back. They'll throw it to him out of the backfield. Hopefully you see him on third down. I like to see him flexed out in the slot, kind of utilize that speed. But they're going to slow the tempo down, so we'll be interested to see if they can run the ball against this really big Marshall defensive front.
New beginnings for Marshall. They exit Conference USA, and they enter the Sun Belt, a.k.a. the Fun Belt. Why is it so fun, and why is this so dang exciting?
Why is it fun? Did you watch that ODU Virginia Tech game last night?
Oh, I sure did. Right next to you.
That shows you why it's fun, man. I said anything can happen in this. A lot of really good teams, some old rivalries being renewed with Marshall, Georgia Southern, also playing against Appalachian State. Some of those old Southern Conference ties coming back into play. They call it the Fun Belt for a reason. They kicked it off last night. We're going to kick it off here, see if we can have some fun this afternoon.
All right, let's have some partner to kick it off for Norfolk State, who will kick it off right to left. They will boot it with number 61. That's Grandin Wilcox out of Vanguard and the great state of Florida. And back deep for Marshall's number 1, Talik Keaton, along with Caleb McMillan for the Thundering Herd, and we are underway in 2022 college football. Glad you're with us on ESPN3. The return along the left side across the 35, and a healthy return by the junior Caleb McMillan before the stop, and that's where this Thundering Herd offense will enter in 2022, Doug Chapman.
And a new look offense. You're going to see a new quarterback in Henry Colombi. Transferred from Texas Tech, spent 2 years there, also spent 2 years at Utah State. Let's see if he can pick up from where transferred Grant Wells, who we saw last night at Virginia Tech. Let's see if he can pick up where he left off and get this high-powered Marshall offense going.
It's an offense last year that put up 33 points. In fact, both these offenses for both teams put up 33. 3 to the right, 1 to the left. The give is to the center, and that's Kalen Layburn, the Florida State transfer. And we get our first look at him in the green and white.
And they like to go fast now. They're lined back up already in the pistol, about to go for it, but they're going to test this defensive front for Norfolk State.
Henry Colombi's the quarterback. He's in the gun. There's a flag down, carry right side, and it's a tackle for loss. And so we'll sort this thing out. Glad you're with us from the Joan in Huntington, West Virginia. He is Doug Chapman. My name is Chad Bush.
Holding. Offense. Number 83. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
And I tell you, that'll drive Coach Charles Huff crazy. He does not like penalties, especially on the opening drive in your first game coming out. They should have him mic'd up, because I'd be very interested in hearing what he's saying right now after getting that flag thrown on. It looked like the tight end, number 83.
That's Devin Miller, the sixth-year senior out of New Jersey, who had 10 snatches last year. So it looks like they'll reset this, and it'll be 2nd and 19 now, back to the 27, Doug. So the offense behind the chains now. And without your lead back from a year ago, this is a little bit more uncomfortable than they would like early on.
But this is what Norfolk State wanted to do. They wanted to slow this offense down and not allow them to get into a rhythm. And that's what they've been able to do so far early in this drive. Marshall hurting themselves with the penalty, but the pace that Marshall likes to play at. If you're a defense and your guys aren't in shape, you're going to get run off the field. But if you can slow them down like this and keep pushing them back, make them shoot themselves in the foot, make them make mistakes on their own, try to stay in this ball game.
So far that has happened. We're early on, just a play in. And already 2 long stoppages with all these folks pent up in the Joan. All 30,000 ready to roar, and my goodness.
If you've ever been to a Marshall practice, one thing you'll hear out of Coach Charles Huff's mouth is tempo, tempo, tempo. This is driving that high-powered offense crazy right now, not being able to line up and go. Like we talked about, a new quarterback in Henry Colombi. They gave him the keys to the car. He wasn't able to practice this spring. So he's really new, not just with his teammates, but also new in this offense.
They'll mark it at the 29-yard line. Colombi started at Utah State, went to the Red Raiders of Texas Tech last year. There's another play that's going to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Coming up to make that tackle for Norfolk State, that's number 0. That's the corner. That's Stuart Anderson. And it's 3rd and long now, and this offense slow to start, partner.
And that's a great open field tackle. That's a big corner, big safety, actually, 6'2", 220 pounds. But that's an excellent open field tackle against these very nifty wide receivers from Marshall that can make you miss in space. Great play.
3rd and long for Colombi, the 6'3" senior out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He does have a receiving target, a returning target, in Shadid Ahmed, 38 catches a year ago to go with 3 touchdowns. And Keaton also comes back with 19 catches. 3rd and long here, going to throw short. Got a man at the 35 and carries up short of the first down, just at about the 40. It's caught by Keaton, who had 2 touchdowns a year ago. It's 3rd down, make it 4th down now, Doug, and punting time for the Thundering Herd.
You look at that series, if you're Norfolk State, that's a win for that series right there. That set it down, that's a win right there. You chalk that up for yourself. You get them behind the sticks with a penalty. Then you come up and you make plays on these players in space. That's a successful outing on defense for Norfolk State. Let's see what they can do with this punt return.
Here's John McConnell, the punter out of Morgantown, the redshirt freshman at 6'3", stands at his own 25 and boots it away at the 30. And back deep, and fair catching is number 13. And that's J.J. Davis. So we see 1 series so far. Marshall on offense, Doug. We get an opportunity now to see Norfolk State in this Marshall defense. How about that first series for these 2 clubs?
And like I talked about it, tempo, tempo, tempo. That's what Marshall likes to do on offense. They're taken completely out of that, out of rhythm. You get a penalty flag on Devin Miller, put you back, put you behind and down. You're off script. I know offensive coordinator Clint Trickett does not like that, but you got to give Norfolk State props here.
Otto Coons comes in, the Illinois State transfer. Kind of a pocket passer, just 10 starts last year. What intrigues you about Mr. Coons?
He's a game manager, and I hate using that phrase about quarterbacks. I think it's overused, but he's a guy that's not going to throw you out of a game. He's not going to try to throw it 40 times. He's not going to throw too many bad passes. There's a great one right there.
It's a great touch pass across the 40 to the 45. What a great timing play and catch by number 24. That's Chris Butler. Just 4 catches a year ago, but looking to make a statement here. And look, a playing fast now is Norfolk State. What do you know?
Yeah, 2-by-2 receivers here, single back, getting to the line of scrimmage quick. You see the play is called in from the sideline. Thought they'd come out and run it a little more, but hey, here you go, Marshall right back.
Throw left side is picked off at the 45. Intercepted and picked off by number 6. That's Micah Abraham, whose father is in the stands. That's Donnie Abraham, the former NFL player. and third-round pick of the Bucks.
And Otto Coons, we talked about it, from Eastern Illinois. If you looked at his game film before he got to Norfolk State, like I said, not a guy that throws it around a lot. Had interception issues, decision-making issues. That's a long throw, that long out. You got a player like Abraham out there at corner, a veteran, preseason Sun Belt, a lot of those lists to look out for, all-conference, second, third team guy. You have to be very precise when you throw a pass like that. Now you put this high-powered Marshall offense back onto the football field with excellent field position.
Abraham with a pick a year ago. Quick to get the Thundering Herd the rock back. Here's a throw left side, has some running room, first down and more. Potentially a face mask that wasn't thrown. The catch is made by number 7. That's Corey Gamage, who's 19th in school history in receptions. And it's a big play for the Herd.
And that's a big fella now. If you ever stood down there next to number 7, he is not a small receiver, hard to get down, not really a speed guy, uses his body and his size really well to go get the football. You see it there.
Columbia thrown over the middle again, got a man caught. He's inside the red zone, and it's a healthy gain of 8 on first down. This is what offensive coordinator Clint Trickett has to do. He now has options to play call in game 1 with Ali being out.
Exactly. This is what you call staying on schedule. This is an efficient Marshall offense. That's how they designed it to look, to go fast and be efficient in both the running and the passing attack. You see a lot of bubble screens there to Charles Montgomery right there. Get the ball out to these playmakers quick, get it in their hands, and allow them to make plays in space.
Charles Montgomery, the redshirt freshman out of Seffner, Florida, with a catch. It's his first career catch. Tackled up by the middle linebacker, Marquise Hall, who's the Spartans' best. Columbia can run. He doesn't there. Buys some time, turns the corner, and just gets that thing for a loss of 2 on the play. Didn't throw it, though, and risk an interception, Doug. That's intriguing.
And I think that's a part of Columbia's game that people don't really talk about a lot, is his legs. You watched him at Texas Tech. Didn't do a lot of running around, but when he had to scramble to buy extra time, he was very successful doing it. Can move for a guy that size, and you see it there, making something happen when he can't find anything downfield.
9 starts in 2 years for the Red Raiders, 7 last year, second winningest quarterback for the Red Raiders outside of a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes. You may have heard of him.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Pretty good football player.
The give is to Layburn left side. It now sets up a third down, Doug. All of a sudden, it's 3rd and 8, and a clutch play for this offense, their first real big test.
Yeah, 3rd and 8, and you want to get 6 out of here and not have to settle for 3. Will be interesting what offensive coordinator Clint Trickett dials up on this one.
Want to watch Ahmed at the bottom of your screen. Guy that had 3 touchdowns last year and the most catches of anyone returning, as they wait for the signal from the sideline. A potent offense last year, 33 points a game for the Herd. Bubble screen left side, got a man caught. It's Keaton, and he's going nowhere. A gain of just 1, swallowed up a fine tackle by number 11. And that's coming from the linebacker spot. That's Tyler Long, the junior from Cincinnati.
Yeah, Tyler Long was Norfolk State's leading tackler last year. Very good football player. He won number 19, had a jersey change to 11 this season. Very active. A guy that does not stay blocked. There are some very good athletes on this Norfolk State Spartans football team, and you're seeing them make athletic plays in space, and some really, really good players for Marshall.
So here comes a 30-yard field goal attempt from the left hash out of the leg of Reese Verhoff. Kick is up and good, and the Herd are on the board in 2022. So with 9:32 to go in the first, the Herd get a turnover on a pick and come back and cash in with 3. You are watching college football. Welcome back to the Joan. Chad Bush and Doug Chapman. Marshall Hall of Famer and NFL running back Doug Chapman to my right. Jake Griffith, your executive producer this afternoon. Glad to have you here on ESPN3. Doug, 3 points for Marshall on drive number 1 after the turnover. That is, your thoughts on how they produced after the pick?
Not the result that head coach Charles Huff and company wanted to get, but they got some points on the board. Defense bails them out after the offense sputters a bit. Abraham comes up with the big pick. You feel the momentum shift, and you're thinking they're going to march down the football field. But once again, this Norfolk State Spartans defense steps up. Guys making plays in space, knowing where they are on the field, not allowing the receiver to get downfield, making the tackle in front of the sticks. Brings out Marshall's field goal unit. They have to settle for 3.
And a really encouraging performance by Norfolk State's defense, considering the fact that last year they give up 31 points a game. And inside the red zone defensively, they were a sieve. They gave up 33 out of 39 times the opponent scored. So it really had to be encouraging for them to get a stop in 3 points.
2 words, transfer portal. They got some guys from the portal that have come in and played for them right away and have helped beef up their defense and offense. And you see it not just there, you see it in college football, but Norfolk State looking very, very good on defense early in this football game.
The Columbus Grove, Ohio native Reese Verhoff, responsible for the 3 points on the scoreboard, will plant this thing into the black end zone. And Norfolk State will come out second drive under a new quarterback, Otto Coons. We may see Jalen Adams, who's more of a run threat. Both teams with new quarterbacks. How important is it in this first quarter, Doug Chapman, to get them established and get them some confidence?
And all of these quarterbacks we talked about, they're from the portal. You've got 2 quarterbacks at Norfolk State. Otto, kid came from Eastern Illinois, and then the Jalen Adams is from the Citadel. Different style of players. What I'm curious about on Norfolk State in this drive is they take the air out of the ball and hand it off to their all-conference running back, or they still drop back Coons and see if he can deliver some passes downfield.
That all-conference running back is J.J. Davis. He gets the call off the right side, right behind his offensive line, which represents Gregory and Franks, the right guard and right tackle. This is a guy that shared carries last year, Doug, and still was able to get himself 800-plus yards and player of the year preseason honors in the MEAC.
What impresses me about him is he's not a big back. He's about 170, 175 pounds, but he avoids the kill shot, runs between the tackles very well. You don't expect a back of that stature to be able to get those tough yards in between the tackles, but he's able to and doesn't get blown up, and he can block.
Fade route left side, and that is overshot. They were looking for Tremaine Talbert, and a little bit too long. Well covered by the Thundering Herd defense.
I like the play call. Your quarterback comes out and throws a pick on the last series. You go back to him, let him air it out. Let him get some confidence. Don't take the confidence away from him. Plus, they're going to give you man coverage. Say, is my guy better than yours? Taking a shot. Big third down for the Thundering Herd coming up.
It was also a nice touch pass of what we saw in their first possession. 2 to the left, 1 to the right behind the quarterback in the gun, Coons. Right side, and thrown down for a loss. Rocketing up that sideline to make the play was Abraham Beauplan, coming from that outside backer spot. The Boynton Beach, Florida product, back on point.
Beauplan, another one of those all-conference Sun Belt players that Marshall is loaded with. The state of Florida has been really good to this program, hasn't it? We've called that state out a lot. But look at this, open field tackling. It's a lost art now in college football and in the NFL because there's not enough time to really teach it. Excellent tackle by a very, very good linebacker in Abraham Beauplan.
Punting time for the Spartans. And standing back is number 61. That's Grandin Wilcox. Back deep for the Herd. And we are getting set. It's Talik Keaton back for the Herd.
Delay of game, is it?
And this is not something that the fine head coach for the Spartans, Dawson Odoms, in his second year. For this club that was picked to finish 3rd in the MEAC, we saw that graphic up, Doug. Hey, listen, the MEAC has gotten better as a program and as it's a conference. This is something where the move to the Sun Belt for Marshall was good, but the MEAC has also been a great conference for this Norfolk State team.
MEAC's an excellent conference, has been for a long time. You talked about Odoms in the SWAC, never had a losing season. He had a 4-5 record under his belt 1 year, but he only became the head coach halfway through that season. He was named interim head coach, so he's very successful, won a SWAC championship, and he's looking also to bring that type of mentality to Norfolk State. Able to go into the portal and get really good players, able to recruit really well, 757, that area where the school is, very talent rich, and so he's going to do well with this program.
You know about that 757, don't you?
I'm an 804 guy, but I love the 757. It's all VA.
But you know about the 757.
I definitely do. I definitely do.
You DMV guys stick together.
Yeah, see, I'm Central Virginia. See, we don't claim DMV.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm learning these boundaries, Doug.
I'm going to teach you. It's all good.
By the 4th, I'll be better. Roll right. Columbia's pass is caught. It's a gain of a few. It throws to the tight end, and that is Devin Miller. with a catch. Short completion, yardage on first down.
Devin Miller, a bigger body tight end, not a guy that's going to get vertical downfield. Very good inline blocker, but can also make plays like that. You get the ball to him quick and turn upfield. Hard to tackle in space because he's so big.
2nd and 7 for the Herd. Left side hitch route caught, coming back to the ball to make a play and getting the first down with a dogged fight from Corey Gamage, the 6'4" junior out of Delray Beach, Florida.
Talked about his size. I tell you, you can't really tell how big he is until you get down there next to him. You're going to have to gang tackle this receiver. He has the body of a tight end, the hands of a receiver, and just enough speed to be able to get away. Excellent play.
How about this? Taken off, left sideline. Will they get him? No, they won't. That's Ethan Payne. The sophomore's into the end zone for the season's first touchdown for the Herd.
Just what the doctor ordered for Marshall, not just because they needed to get into the end zone, but they needed some momentum. This crowd is wondering, hey, what's going on? This offense looks a bit stagnant. Can we get things going? The rushing attack strikes first. Ethan Payne takes it inside, bounces outside. Not known for his speed, but outran some defenders right there.
My goodness. Payne saying, hey, I can be that guy. Who's this Leigh Burn kid? I've been here. I'm the only guy that's coming back with carries from last season.
100% right.
Sometimes that'll fire fellas up. Extra point is up, and it is good. So, with 6 and 57 to go from the Joan in the first, the Herd have put a jolt into this Joan crowd. Can answer that question, how long the touchdown was? Welcome back to Huntington, West Virginia. My name is Chad Bush alongside Marshall Hall of Famer and former NFL running back Doug Chapman. It's Hall of Fame weekend. You're a former Hall of Famer. What does it mean to the Marshall community to have all these Hall of Famers back in one spot?
You know, to fans of Marshall football, regardless of the years that you watched, this community really loves this program. It doesn't matter if you played in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the 50s. It doesn't matter when you played here. They really have a lot of love for this program, and they have a lot of love for all sports because as you see the way the campus is set up, it's set up in the city. Literally, people's homes are a stone's throw from the football stadium. So this community is very, very tight with the athletic program, and when they are able to get players back from all the different decades, it's a really good atmosphere here.
Really cool field coming in. That kick is out of bounds, and that's a bit of a boo-boo. So it will give Norfolk State some better starting position, and we'll see what they do at the quarterback spot coming out for their third series.
And it will be interesting to see if they are able to sustain and put together a drive to get themselves into Marshall territory. They've had a hard time getting over the 50 and sustaining drives. This is a team that averaged 34 minutes in possession last year. They've got to come out and establish something, some type of drive, put something together, get some consistency. You don't want to see this game get out of hand for them.
Ryan Myers is their offensive coordinator. He not only is their offensive coordinator, he has an Emmy Award in his back pocket. Who has that? Doug will tell us more about that later. There is a TFL, and the big fellas up front starting to eat for the Herd. And that was number 59 in the middle of things, as we'll see quite a bit this season. That's Emmanuel Bush.
Yeah, Bush, a very formidable player at that 3 technique. That's the strength of this defense, that defensive front. It's going to be very hard to move the football, especially between the tackles against this front.
It's J.J. Davis again trying that right side, and there's just not a whole lot doing up there, as my partner mentioned. This defensive line is one of the strengths of this unit behind defensive coordinator Lance Guidry.
And Lance Guidry's done an excellent job with putting players in positions to maximize their talent. You got Owen Porter or Kobe Cumberlander on each outside. Guys that aren't very stout, but they get after the passer very well, very aggressive up front, and they cover really well in the back end.
The Herd led Conference USA a season ago, giving up just 24 points a game. Better against the pass first, 12th against the run, but sometimes those are misleading as well. Handoff up the middle, and Davis is tripped by the turf monster. It is new turf out there at the Joan. And who'd have thunk it'd be the 12th man here today?
And that play confused me a bit. On 3rd and 9, you go with an inside run. I don't think that they trusted Coons dropping back and trying to throw the ball downfield, but that's not a play. I guarantee you that did not happen the way that Norfolk State drew that one up.
No, sir. So punting time, back deep again for the Herd is Keaton. And to boot it away is number 61, Grandin Wilcox, who's got some work out of that right leg today. Nearly blocked. Good pressure. Keaton calls for the fair catch. And at the 26-yard lines where the Herd will start their 3rd drive. We'll take a timeout. You are watching college football on ESPN3.
So
welcome back to the Joan. Doug Chapman alongside Chad Bush. You never know what you might get. Right now, the leading rusher in the story is Ethan Payne, who has the big touchdown run, Doug, and the most excitement in this stadium today.
Yeah, broke off the big run, but I've been very impressed with Columbia's poise thus far early in the game. Hasn't tried to force anything. He's taken what the defense has given him. You can see the somewhat conservative play calling by offensive coordinator Clint Trickett. Not trying to force the ball downfield, getting the ball out of his hands, some quick screens to playmakers in space, getting him some confidence. But he's going to need that over the course of the season.
That's McMillan for a quick 6. Why not go back to him for a little bit more? All the way across the 40 to the 43. They get a dozen up that left sideline and keep feeding the 6'3", 200-pounder out of Orlando.
And now we're seeing that Marshall offense operating the way they want to. We talked about how good the state of Florida has been. Another player there in McMillan from Orlando area picks up a big chunk of real estate.
1st and 10 from the 43. Columbia, who can escape, does. Has it left side. LeBurn toast up that sideline, and he has enough for the 1st down into Spartan territory.
I'd say Layburn is extremely dangerous in space, very shifty, excellent runner, low to the ground, very powerful. And if he gets an inch on you, he can take it the distance. Like I said, 5-star player out of Virginia Beach, initially went to Florida State, played well, got injured, had some things going off the field, but he's found a home here in Huntington, West Virginia.
And sometimes when you watch that other running back come into the game and break off a 50-yarder for a touchdown, you just get maybe a little bit hungrier.
Hey, you get a little hungry, you get a little competitive. You're like, I want to eat too. You see the other running back breaking off long runs, getting in the pay dirt. You also want to do that, and they're very good friends away from the field as well. So I'm sure that Ethan came over and told him what he sees, and Layburn's going to try to take advantage of it out there too.
Columbia's going to run, and he'll get knocked out of bounds on that far sideline. Gain of 2 on the play. And you see Columbia, and he can escape, smart with the feet, but he's not looking to run, Doug. He wants to sit in that pocket.
This is a veteran quarterback. He's seen a lot of football at now his 3rd different school. So he's not going to, like I said, throw you into bad situations. Sees nothing downfield, pulls it down, picks up positive yardage.
Motion left to right. The give to Layburn at the 30. One man to beat to the 20, but not before an 18-yard gash into the Spartan deep end. And the Herd are really starting to hum, partner.
And there's the unheralded star of this Marshall offense is the front offensive line. Knocking gaping holes. Logan Osborne at center. Trent Holler. Ethan Driscoll, a massive left tackle. Those players are blowing Norfolk State's smaller defenders off the football right now.
And the offensive line maybe had some questions coming in. They had some fellows that left the program with experience, graduated, 5th-year guys, 3 of them? So, I mean, it's hard to replace that. But Charles Huff seemed very confident in this group up front.
Guys that not just graduated, guys that were picked up by NFL camps.
That's right.
Will Ulmer, Alex Millette. These are all conference guys that played a lot of really good football and left big shoes to fill. But so far, the guys in green up front are getting the job done.
4 wide, but tight now. So 4 tight to the formation. Back in there is Ethan Payne, who has the rushing touchdown, the big 50-yarder. Columbia dancing around, going to run it himself to the 10. Buries a head down to the 7. There is a flag down, and it looks as though this thing might be coming back.
We may have talked up that offensive line a little too quick. Maybe a little legal hands to the face here.
Holding. Offense, number 58. 10-yard penalty, previous spot. Replay.
It's at 58.
Second
I think
down.
it's 68. That's Dalton Tucker, the right guard, the big. No, it is 58. My bad. And it is Cedrice Palant, the big 6'4", 325-pound transfer from Rutgers. And he's rotating in there early. This is a rotation system. They're going to play about 7 or 8, right, Doug?
They've rotated him in. He's getting comfortable and acclimated with this Marshall offense. Didn't start the game. Just like you said, you're going to see a lot of interchangeable parts at the interior, especially at guard.
Columbia looking down short and quickly wrapped up a fine form tackle after it was dumped off to Keaton. Short gain of the play.
And once again, a penalty slows down this Marshall offense. Offense is moving well. They're running the ball, throwing the ball, moving it on offense. They get a penalty, and now they find themselves another 3rd and long and putting themselves in a situation where they may have to settle for 3 versus getting 6.
That's Long, their best leading tackler, who is coming back this year with a form tackle. 3rd and 15 from the 25. Columbia from the gun. Has time. Steps up, pocket breaks down, and has a man caught for a first down. He needed 15. He got 16. And that's quite a nice piece of work by Keaton just to settle in there.
Excellent job by Talik Keaton keeping the relationship with his quarterback as he sees his quarterback scramble. But I'm gonna tell you, an even better job by Columbia, knowing where he is on the field and not crossing the line of scrimmage while scrambling to be able to get the ball downfield. Very savvy veteran move.
Layburn with a burst up the middle of the field. There is a flag down. He's a smart guy. He's getting right behind Logan Osborne, the 6'3" sophomore, the best of the bunch up front, perhaps, for the Herd. But somebody got busted for a penalty here as we look in. Thanks for joining us here on ESPN3. My name is Chad Bush alongside Doug Chapman, former NFL running back and former Marshall Hall of Famer.
Offside.
They still have you in the Hall of Fame. Oh, you're not going
I'm gonna be
anywhere.
there for a long time.
Former Marshall running back, current
and
Hall
goal.
of Famer. And what was the call, partner? Offsides it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Took him a long time to figure that out. And it's settled in now. We've got our answers as we close in on the final minute of this first quarter. A first quarter that's seen the Thundering Herd shut out the Spartans and get a couple scores themselves. They're knocking on the door here, and look at this. Look, with 3 running backs in the backfield, Doug. Handoff to Layburn, and he's tripped up in the backfield. That's a fine play. Sliding down to make the tackle was number 28. That's coming from the safety spot. That's R.J. Coles out of Richmond, Virginia.
And you see that full house look when you put all those big bodies in the backfield. They're going to really test this Norfolk State front. We talked about some new faces and new places. They lost a lot of really good defensive firepower when they lost Chris Myers and Deshaun Dixon, who also went to play on Sundays and are in somebody's camp right now. But a lot of production gone from that defense.
Columbia's going to throw it. It's tipped and it's picked off. Intercepted. Tyler Long with a pick. He's up that right sideline. The throw, the pass was tipped, and it cost Columbia deep into Spartan territory. Turnover.
Tyler Long, fantastic football player. Like I said, led them in tackles last year. You watch him on film. He's extremely active. He can drop back in coverage. He'll get in the A-gap mug, gets to the quarterback, and you see him there now, finding the ball and picking it off and taking it upfield. Don't sleep on this Norfolk State defense. They've got some really, really good players.
So both teams with a turnover. And now the Herd defense back out there. And looking to hold back Norfolk State. So back out comes this offense, led by the quarterback Otto Coons. And 3 wide receivers, a pretty balanced offense a season ago. And as Doug said, they like to control the clock. And they've got a lot of field to control and corral, but they need first downs, Doug.
They've got to get first downs, and they've got to sustain some sort of drive that's going to get them on the other side of the 50. That's been the issue. They've gotten chunk plays here, chunk plays there. Defense has kept them in it, but can the offense make some plays to get some points on the board?
We will find out when we come back to the Joan for the start of the second quarter. Thanks so much for watching college football on this opening Saturday on ESPN3. the Joan, and this is the home of the 5th highest win percentage for a home team in the country. Home of the Thundering Herd. My name is Chad Bush alongside Doug Chapman. Doug, the Spartans looking to do something on second down. It's been all Marshall thus far. 10-0 really doesn't tell us the whole story.
It's 2nd and 8. They don't have to get all 8 on this down, but you want to get 4 to 5 to put yourself in a manageable 3rd down look where the playbook is wide open. But if they don't get anything here and put themselves in 3rd and long, they're right back where they started, and they're going to have to put the ball in the air, which they do not want to do.
Norfolk State is replacing a starter in Jawan Carter that threw for over 2,500 yards last year, 21 touchdowns, and was quite efficient for them in this program. The run left side by Davis, who has yet to really get on track in this game, less than 20 yards, and it sets up a 3rd and long, Doug.
Yeah, he gets a yard there. There you go, 3rd and long. Bo playing excellent job coming up and making the stop. One thing I like about number 7 is that when he hits you, you stop right there. There's no yak yards when 7 comes up and gets you. You're going backwards. Excellent tackle there.
The Bo plan can be punishing at times. Left side, fade route, and incomplete, just wide of the intended target. They were looking for the top target, Felton. Well covered by the Herd.
Well covered, but they had to throw there. You put a little touch on that throw, and that's a complete pass. Gilmore was looking back too early. Ball went completely over his head. Just too much smoke on that football. Felton not able to bring it in.
E.J. Jackson was over there. Punting time for the 4th time today for Grandin Wilcox, who will stand in the shadows of his own end zone. Meanwhile, back deep is Talik Keaton. The pride of Booker High School in Sarasota, Florida, stands at the midline. Pressure, and this spiral is going to work out. A friendly Spartan roll that's going to roll it inside the 30, and this is going to be a gaudy looking punt.
And special teams and defense is going to have to be Norfolk State's best weapon right now, because offense, they're not able to get any type of consistency or rhythm. Special teams, good kick here, rugby style, gets them down, pins back Marshall's offense, and now you've got to come out on defense in Norfolk State to see if you can get yet another stop. The question is, though, how many times do you ask your defense to do this? The offense has got to help them out a little bit.
Yeah, 57-yard punt by Wilcox will help them out. They'll knock it down at the 28. So that's where Henry Colombi and company will come out. Colombi started his career at Utah State, played 2 years at Texas Tech. And here he is at Marshall, the school that recruited him. Here comes Payne with a big hole up the middle. And so far has the 2 biggest plays of the day for the Herd. He says, hey, have you heard of me? My name's Payne, and I'm here to play.
And Payne Train is out here punishing people. Nice inside run, inside zone, and we talked about it. North and south runner. You're going to have to get in front of him. Not a small back. He's about 220 pounds, and when he gets his shoulder square, he's one of the best in the business. You got to gang tackle this young man.
Last season, Payne found the end zone a couple times. 20 carries for 89 yards. He might surpass that here in the first half. Quick 5-yard hitter there. 2nd and mid for Colombi. Pocket breaks down. Ball is out. And who has it?
It's like Payne.
Who else?
Doing everything today.
Payne subsided as it's pounced on back at the 47-yard line. My goodness, scary, partner.
He played as a true freshman last year. And Payne, I'm talking about, was extremely, I was impressed with how well he picked up the offense and how poised he was. You see him jumping on the ball there. Very fortunate for Marshall. That didn't lead to another turnover.
TJ Stevenson with the forced fumble. Throw over the middle is caught by the tight end, and it's a 1st down completion up to the 40. That's the big fella, Devin Miller, his 2nd catch of the day. And the 6th-year senior gives the Herd the chance to move the chains.
And that's what they ask out of Miller. They don't want him getting vertical, running drag routes, finding a soft spot in the zone and sitting down. Nice throw and catch from Colombi to Miller.
Colombi looking deep, looking for the end zone. Got a man open. Caught and dropped. Ahmed had it for a moment.
A complete breakdown in coverage on the back end for Norfolk State. You've got a man running wide open, streaking through the middle of the field, breakdown in coverage, and Ahmed lays out, just not able to bring it in. Excellent throw by Columbia.
Allen was beat on the play, and the Spartans dodge a bullet. 2nd and 10. Give to Layburn up the gut, and that's a healthy gain of 5. He'll get half of it back. Make it a 3rd and manageable, just outside of the comfort zone, perhaps, of this first-year kicker. A guy that they rave about in Reese Verhoff, a guy with a big leg. He did kick a 51-yarder in practice, but he may not want to test that here in the first half.
Yeah, just a freshman. You know, he doesn't have a body of work yet in games, so you don't know where he can hit it from. But right now, if you're Marshall, once again, you don't want to settle for 3. They're shooting for the end zone.
No doubt. From the right hash, Columbia. Pressured. Has to run and gets near the first down marker inside the 30. I think he has it. He needed 5. He got 5 1/4. And that just might move the chains. The officials will indicate it's a first down.
I'm impressed with how Norfolk State's able to get pressure just bringing 3. Looked like there was Jalen Swindell there, able to get pressure, and they're not blitzing. But excellent pickup for Marshall there.
Has time here. Keaton again over the middle, tries to shake a defender, but he cannot shake the middle backer. That's Marquise Hall, the senior out of Woodbridge, Virginia. And that'll bring up 2nd down and short.
And it looks like defensively, Norfolk State, just besides the breakdown in coverage, is trying to protect the deep ball. So Columbia playing smart football, taking exactly what the defense gives them, hitting everything underneath, throwing the short passes, and they're marching the ball down the field effectively right now.
Fake to Layburn, throw right side. Tight end's been busy. Why not feed him again? Devin Miller with a little drop out, and he's been reliable.
And that's what happens when you're able to run the ball, that little play action fake. Linebackers have to freeze and bite. That little bit of that hesitation, able to let Miller sneak out to the flats and pick up positive yardage.
Marshall running hurry up and running tight formation. Layburn gets it right side, bounces outside the numbers, still on his feet, down to the 5 with a lunge to the 3. There you see the fight and the hunger out of number 8, who's coming back off a 2019 season at Florida State.
2 very strong runners. You saw 28, Ethan Payne earlier. Now you're seeing number 8, Kalen Layburn. You're not going to bring these guys down with arm tackles, and they're going to always finish falling forward.
Gain of 5 on the play. Layburn powers another one across the line, and he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Herd.
And so far, the story has been efficient in the passing attack, nothing flashy, but the running backs have just been eating up yards and getting consistent first downs. You see Ethan Payne jumping on the fumble, keeping the drive alive, but the offensive line up front doing a great job in giving creases for these backs to get through.
Yes, sir. Extra point attempt coming from Verhoff. Zach Appio to snap it. And the kick is up and good. So with 10 and 14 to go until halftime, the Herd have put together a solid drive and put on another touchdown show in front of their home crowd here at the Joe. Welcome back to the Joe. My name is Chad Bush, alongside Doug Chapman, Marshall Hall of Famer and former NFL running back. And this is a Spartan team that comes in knowing what's ahead of them, Doug. Look, 0-15 playing against FBS teams in their history. They're coming here to get some money. They're coming here to get some experience. And whatever happens today, they're going to get better moving on as the season grows along from this game.
And you've seen it so far. I mean, they've played tough, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Unable to get much going offensively, but defensively, they've got some players on the back end that can play anywhere in the country, and they've showed you that. Let's see if they can come up with something on offense to answer, because they've got to get on the point, on the scoreboard before the first half ends.
There's a fine special teams tackle down there by number 13 for the Herd in coverage, and that is E.J. Horton, the backup wide receiver. So here comes this Spartan offense against this Herd defense under Coach Guidry. And this is a defense that did a lot of great things last year. First in Conference USA, the defensive line was very disruptive despite being limited at the end of the year with injuries. What stands out in this defense to you, Doug Chapman?
I'll tell you, Lance Guidry, he's from Louisiana. And they like to eat a lot of spicy food down there. He's going to heat you up on defense. He's not shy about bringing pressure. So when you watch Marshall play, they're going to bring a lot of it. They like to get after you, especially if you're a team that likes to sit back in the pocket and try and throw it. But a very aggressive, attacking style of defense that works around that front that's very, very good for the Thunder and Herd.
Not much on first down. Coming up is Andre Sam to make the stop. He's a McNeese State transfer. You talk about the transfer portal. You talk about Guidry. It's no mistake that Guidry helped get that young man here, probably.
Yes, used to be the head coach at McNeese, has a relationship with Andre Sam, and Marshall was fortunate to get him last year. Brought a player by the name of Chris McCoy.
Sure.
I'm sorry, Corey McCoy from McNeese, and he played some really good football for Marshall.
There's a quick hitter to Felton that's completed. Sets up 3rd and 6. There is a new quarterback into the ball game. This is Jalen Adams, the transfer from the Citadel. He was a 2-year starter coming in. This is a RPO threat fella, dual threat guy, 5'10", 185 out of Johnson City, Tennessee.
Offensive coordinator Ryan Myers mixing it up a bit, trying to give a different look. Let's see if it pans out for him on 3rd down.
4 wide receivers. Pitch left side, ball on the turf, ball's loose, ball's picked up, and the ball is in the end zone. Touchdown, Herd! Number 55, Owen Porter for the score. High energy, big plays. Porter and the Herd have had it all today.
Local kids making big plays today for the Herd. Owen Porter from right down the street went to Spring Valley High School, not far from here, and I'd say he had a huge bowl game. Actually broke a Marshall record for sacks. Very underrated player, not just in the Sun Belt, but in college football. You see him there, Johnny on the spot, sees the ball, scoop and score. Coach Huff has 2 terms for fumbles. He calls them country balls and city balls. So the city ball, you fall on it. Country ball, you pick it up and score. Owen Porter with the country ball, scoop and score a touchdown.
I love it. It was forced by Jace Bobo. The kick is up and good. And the defense getting in on the eating while it's good before supper time. Verhoff with the extra point. Marshall with a 24-0 lead in a dominating first half. Oh.
And when you get desperate on offense, Chad, this is what happens. You start making plays, try to get some trickery in there, and it backfires on you. Owen Porter takes it in for the scoop and score.
Porter with a touchdown. The quarterbacks switch up. Jalen Adams in. Marshall takes advantage of it. This is nothing new. Marshall, one of the best in Conference USA and the country last year, forcing 18 turnovers.
And that pressure up front, they like to get after you, put you in a position to where you either throw an errant pass or they knock the ball off of you, or right there they get you frustrated on offense where you start to try a trick play that just goes awry. Right now, Norfolk State is very desperate offensively. They're changing quarterbacks. They're resorting to trick plays. They got to find some type of consistency on that side of the ball.
Fair catch by J.J. Davis. And that'll put the ball at the 25-yard line for the Spartan offense. Coming off a turnover by a disruption in the front end for Marshall and their defense. A D-line that last year led the conference in sacks with 40, 12th in the nation. The stats will tell you they were first against the pass and last against the run, but the reality is somewhere in between, right?
There's somewhere in between, a lot of up and down play, but that front can get after you. You see Owen Porter, they just showed on the screen, 55, very active player, does not stay blocked. But Norfolk State has to be very careful right here. They have got to get some consistency on offense, because they turn the ball back over to Marshall, they could blow the doors open on this thing and it could be over in the first half.
Second meeting all time. The only other meeting was in 2015. A 45-7 Marshall wipeout of the Spartans from the MEAC as well. But Marshall no longer members of Conference USA. This is game 1 of the Sun Belt Conference. And an exciting time in school history. What's the general feeling around the program about being in this conference and maybe some of its biggest advantages?
A lot of energy, and it started really when Charles Huff became the head coach here in 2021. He was followed after Brad Smith becoming the president, who's a Marshall alum, and Christian Spears coming over from Pitt, being named AD earlier this year. It's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. New conference. We're able to get out of their contract with the Conference USA. The fans are excited. The city's excited. You look around, there's some upgrades done, new turf. Christian Spears has been very aggressive in what he wants to do here, and very exciting times here in Huntington.
Spears bringing a high level of experience and expertise to Huntington. Previous stops at Pitt, Eastern Michigan, amongst others. There's a handoff up the middle, not much doing here. This is J.J. Davis, the Cincinnati product, who went to Coleraine High School. Very productive a season ago. This is the MEAC's preseason player of the year. Man, he's been limited in this game. Credit that Marshall defense. It's even starting to rotate a lot of guys in.
Yeah, he's a player that initially was at Cincinnati. Redshirted there and transferred to Norfolk State. Very good football player, but this is a very good Marshall defense he's trying to move the ball against.
Kuhn's going to run it. Has some daylight and has a first down. Gets across the 35-yard line. So it's a gain of about 10 on the play. Move the chains. This is what the Spartans needed. Some kind of a jolt from the guy who doesn't usually run.
Yeah, not known to pull it down and use his legs, but everyone drops back in coverage. There's no rush coming. Take what the defense gives you. Let's see if they can get something going and get on the other side of the 50.
Davis pops one off that left side. Not much doing there. The big fellas up front closing gaps quickly, including Eli Neal, the linebacker for the Herd.
And it's going to be tough for them to run inside zone against the front that's on the field. You see Bush and Watts. Those are two very big men clogging up the A gap and B gap respectively. Maybe have to try something on the edge or get some counter action or a screen, but they're not going to be able to get the ball right down the throat of that Marshall D.
Kuhn throws short right side. The hitch is caught. Catch made by Pride. That's his first catch of the 2020 season for the transfer from Bluefield State. 3rd down and 7.
This has been Norfolk State's Achilles heel. Talking about Spartans and Achilles heel, no pun intended. But 3rd down. It's been an issue for them all afternoon. And let's see what they can dial up now and get something going to keep this drive. Good-looking drive so far. Let's see if they can keep it going.
Rolling under 7 minutes. A 3rd and mid that the Spartans can't afford to let pass them by. Pocket breaks down, in trouble, and down he goes. Kobe Cumberland, the other high-energy defensive end, with a big sack for the 5th-year senior out of Georgia.
We talked about 55 on one end. 32 on the other end is just as active. They're really good friends off the football field. High-energy guys away from football and very high-energy guys on the football field. Cumberlander, excellent job tracking the defender, not jumping in the air, falling for any pumps, and brings them down for a huge loss. And here we go again. The punting unit is back out again. Marshall has brought pressure every single time that they've punted the ball. Let's see if they get home on this one.
Charles Huff, 5-0 against Norfolk State, 4-0 as a player, 1-0 as a coach. The punt just gets underway again. Keaton calls for the fair catch at the 27-yard line. With 5:52 left from the Joan in Huntington, West Virginia, you are watching college football on ESPN3. Well, the road ahead for the Thundering Herd looks like this. They'll head to South Bend next weekend to take on the Fighting Irish, who are under new leadership. And we'll stay in the Midwest the following weekend and play the Max Bowling Green Falcons on the 17th before taking on Troy, conference member in the SBC, Gardner Webb, which will be our next game together, and then getting into league play as we get back here in the second quarter. Chad Bush and Doug Chapman with you.
Yeah, 3 straight road games. One of those road games being, like you said, in South Bend. But Notre Dame's got a tough task tonight for themselves in Columbus with those Ohio State Buckeyes.
Sure do. Blockbuster battle tonight. A lot of eyes in Columbus. Handoff up the middle. This is Ethan Payne, who's the top rusher in this game thus far. We'll get you some stats at halftime. 5.5 left. What would Marshall like to get accomplished on this drive? Guys maybe sometimes get satisfied at this point?
It looks like Marshall's going to try to get one more in there before halftime, and they're going to hurry up. If the run is there, they're going to take it. You see Columbia making some adjustments at the line.
Columbia sits in that pocket, settles down, gets it into Payne. Payne has a first down and more up the right sideline. And the top offensive performer in this game for the green and white continues to tack on some gaudy numbers.
And that's a very underrated part of his game, is receiving out of the backfield. He's the most complete of all of the running backs, even when Ali is healthy. Now, when I say that he's the most complete, he can give you something in the rushing attack. He'll pick up blitzers when asked consistently, and he'll catch the ball consistently. He does all 3 of those things very well. Ali is an elite runner, don't get me wrong. But Payne is very impressive with the way that he's able to do all 3 at a high level consistently game after game, and you're seeing it this afternoon.
That's a catch by the Arizona transfer, Stacy Marshall. And it's going to set up now 3rd and short after the short run by the local boy out of West Virginia. Poca, West Virginia, Ethan Payne. How far is that from here?
I'd say about 25 minutes down the road.
Okay. All right.
And you see Coach Telly Lockett right now. Ethan Payne could have 200 yards rushing, but running back Coach Telly Lockett will still stay on him the whole game.
Watch out here. Ahmed loose on the left side. No, check that. That's Leyburn. That is Kalen Leyburn with his biggest burst of the ball game. Pardon me, as we go under 4 minutes. It's a gain on the play of 23 yards for the senior running back.
Talked about his shiftiness. You see it there. Looks like they ran a very popular play in the NFL. It's called duo. Get a two-way go for the back. Take it inside, take it outside. Leyburn with that speed takes it around the edge, gives a little bit of a dead leg at the end. But 23 yards later, we talked about the absence of Rasheen Ali in the open. Like I said, one of the best backs in college football. But if you can have Payne and Leyburn playing this way as a 1-2 combo, that'll satisfy that loss until he comes back.
No Rasheen Ali, 1,400 yards last year, 25 touchdowns, led NCAA. You don't have him, and you've put up 24 points. You got to be feeling pretty good. Both running backs in his place have been more than adequate.
You know, keep it in perspective. It's against Norfolk State.
Sure.
But at the same time, you like to see guys perform when you're supposed to perform. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You know, you'd be more concerned if Leyburn and Payne weren't able to move the ball on the ground, or an offensive line wasn't able to get the running backs any seams. But they've been able to do that. You're supposed to look how you're supposed to look when you're playing against a school like Norfolk State.
Got an injury in the field, and it is number 16 for Norfolk State on this near sideline. It's Christian Ruffin, a defensive back out of Raleigh, North Carolina, who appears to be up and walking off the field. As Marshall on this drive has been able to do some good work on the ground, and a balance of both backs in Payne and along with K-Burn, both guys they'll need next week in South Bend for sure. How long do you go if you're Charles Huff with your starters, with your top guys in this ball game?
That's a good question, but you don't know what these guys can do because they've never played for you. So this is his first time seeing what they can do against opposition. So you want to let these guys go long enough where you're able to properly evaluate what they do well. So when they sit down and watch film, they can know this is what we need to work on more, and this is what we do really well, and it helps you moving forward in the season because, like I said, Henry Columbia was not able to practice with the team in the spring.
Right.
He got with them in the summer, so he's still finding his way. Kalen Leyburn wasn't here last season. he's still finding his way. So you got to get some chemistry.
Slant route caught, touchdown Herd. Into the end zone, Corey Gamage. First 6. 20, 13-yard strike, and a touchdown for the Herd.
When you talk about that size for Corey Gamage, when he comes off the line of scrimmage, if he gets inside of a defensive back, the only option that the defensive back has is to pass interfere with them. Big body, runs excellent routes, and has very, very good hands. You see him put him to use there.
Gamage 19th best in school history in receptions, who now has crossed the 80 reception mark. As you get a look at the slant here, the Herd have put up 31 in Huntington. This is college football on ESPN3. Welcome back to the Joan, otherwise known as Joan C. Edwards Stadium, here in beautiful Huntington, West Virginia. A little bit of overcast sky, but the skies have been lit up by the Thundering Herds. 31 points, Doug Chapman, with 3:43 to go until halftime.
It didn't start off pretty for Marshall, but this first half is ending the way the coach Charles Huff wanted it. He wanted to come out and look dominant on both sides of the ball. We talked about it, new faces, sputtered a bit on offense. Defense came out, bailed them up. They turned the ball over. Columbia throws the interception, but they fought back. And right now it's looking like blowout city here in Huntington.
Charles Huff, as you saw there, the recruiter of the year in 2019, a guy that grew up on a small farm in Denton, Maryland. He's a small town guy, likes country music, likes to enjoy with a nice cigar. Says, I'm pretty boring. I like Law and Order, a cigar, and that's about it. I said, well, that's pretty entertaining, Coach. He says, nah, I just like football. I'm boring.
Yeah, Coach Huff's a pretty even keel guy until you get him out on the football field. He's really laid back when you talk to him. You go to his office, he's very personable. Sometimes you feel like you forget you're interviewing the coach. You feel like you're talking to one of your buddies, but very fiery personality when he's on the sideline and when dealing with his players coach. The kids love playing for him, and you go ask them about how they feel about Coach Huff, and their eyes just light up.
A relationship guy and a good human being that you do feel very comfortable around. I agree with that. There's a run off the right side, and it's swallowed up quickly. Right over there was number 89. That's Damian Barber Jr. making the tackle. He's the senior out of Harrisburg, and the transfer from Austin P. Just a gain of 1. 3:20 left to go until halftime. And the quarterback, Coons, is back in there. He's been in all but one series, Doug.
Going with the freshman now, Jordan Lennon at running back for Norfolk State. Maybe just changing it up a little bit, going with a little bit of a bigger back. See if they have any success moving the football on the ground with him.
We'll keep an eye on the status of J.J. Davis, player of the year in the preseason. There's a pass that hit that new green turf that athletic director Christian Spears helps bring to this stadium and brush up. There's all kinds of aesthetics here that make this thing just look even better than years past.
So he's done a great job polishing things up here. It's a beautiful stadium. He's done some small things here and there that's made him pop more, but once again, third down for Norfolk State has not been kinder than this afternoon.
Will Coach Guidry turn up the heat and dial up the blitz? No mercy from Lance Guidry. Going to cover here, and miscommunication up front. Was it tipped? Pressure incomplete. 4th down, punting time again for the Spartans.
Jay-Sean Kaufman gets a hit on the quarterback there and gets up a little slow, but once again that Marshall front, very big and very hard to block, getting pressure, gets the tip ball and gets Norfolk State off of the field. And then you're going to give this offense the ball back with just under 3 minutes. Marshall's going to look to score some more points before halftime.
Jay-Sean Kaufman with the pressure. Third-year man out of Lexington, Kentucky. Another punt coming from Wilcox. And it did not get blocked, but it was close again. And into the danger zone with a gutsy return is Keaton, who says enough. Corrals the pill at the 45, and we get a chance to see this offense for the Thundering Herd that has made some noise today with just under 3 minutes left until the break.
It'll be interesting now to see going into the break, do they go run heavy right here on this series, or do they go pass heavy and try to score quickly? Because they've got the ball in really good field position on their own 45, and they haven't been stopped lately throwing it or running it. So Coach Charles Huff and offensive coordinator Clint Trickett can do whatever they want.
4 wide receivers. Layburn back in there to the left to Columbi. Stepping up over the middle, got a man, tight end again, caught. It's a gain of about 20 yards up to the 35-yard line, and another catch for Devin Miller, who's really shown some things. 10 catches all of last year. He's got about 5 today.
Coach Clint Trickett calls him Tim Duncan, the big fundamental, because he just does everything right. You ask him to do something, you ask him to run a route to 9 yards, he runs it to 9 yards, catches everything you throw his way. Very tough player. His elbow actually hyperextended last year, comes back 2 games later, played really good football for the Herd, but very tough player, very well respected by his teammates as well.
Dumped out to Layburn, and you see why the Marshall faithful are excited. Makes a couple of men miss and picks up a healthy gain on first down of about 7. Left hash of the 27-yard line. Herd trying to go in.
And you look at Coach Huff and that offense down there signaling, go fast, speed up, guys, get to the line of scrimmage. They want to hurry up and run a ton of plays so they can get a lot of points on the board. So far it's working. They're trying to get 6 more before the half.
They hurry up here, but nothing open down home and downfield. Gain of 2 on the play, going to bring up 3rd and short. Columbi with 3 wide receivers. And a 3rd down. Payne checks in, gets the call left side, dances his way across the 20, and for a first down. Finally tackled up there by number 92 for the Spartans. That's Cameron Curry.
Excellent run by 28. Once again, takes it off tackle, sees nothing outside, jump cuts, gets back inside. North and south is where he does his best work. When those shoulders get square, he's a hard man to bring down. And you see the shiftiness there, finishing with power, falling forward, picking up the first down.
Clint Trickett, the offensive coordinator and first-year play caller, steps up. Columbi wants to run, keeps on his feet, takes a hit, and gets up about half of the yardage needed as we close in on 60 seconds left until the halt. No huddle, of course. Gain of 5. Tackle on the play by number 18. That's Christopher Price. Dumped down. Payne looking for another. Clock will run. It's close to the first down marker. It might stop briefly with 43 seconds left. It will. Call it a first down. Herd.
First down, clock will stop briefly. I'm not sure if he got out of bounds. Nope, he did not. Clock is continuing to roll. See if they hit it to number 28 again.
Ethan Payne does get it again at the 5 to the 4, and he's whipped into the blocking zone for a touchdown. Herd. 7-yard touchdown run is second of the first half. And the local boy out of Polka High School doing just fine here this afternoon in the opener.
No Ali, no problem for the Herd. They're going to get it done on the ground regardless. That shows the talent that they have in that stable, in that backfield. And you've got guys like Ethan Payne, Kalen Layburn come in and are able to move the ball. Running back coach Telly Lockett has done an excellent job with that room. Arguably the best running back coach in all of college football. I'm telling you, they've got some really talented guys in that room.
And they're all showing out this afternoon in Huntington. Half a minute left, 38-0 Marshall on top. Payne is in, 2 touchdowns equals his total in rushing touchdowns from a season ago.
See the young man on the sideline, just a sophomore. He's got a lot of football left to play here wearing green, so if you're an Ethan Payne fan, you should be very excited for the future.
There you see Charles Huff. Mentors include James Franklin, who he worked under at Vanderbilt in 2011. He also worked under him at Penn State with Maryland. And he also says, look, my mother and father are my mentors as well. Speaks very highly of how he was brought up in that small town in Denton, Maryland. Credits his parents, Charles and Shirley. And father was a high school principal. He comes from good stock, and this is a fine, high-rising head coach in the NCAA.
Also was on staff at Western Michigan with P.J. Fleck, and he talks about those coaches from a football standpoint, just how much he was able to glean off of coaches like Fleck and Franklin and Saban, and how it's helped him evolve. He's not even 40 years old yet,
Yeah.
Chad. This is a young man we're talking about.
Right.
And, he's got a bright future, not just here at Marshall, but for his head coaching career.
There's a kick that hugs the sideline, goes out of bounds, and that might have been the worst thing that's happened in this first half. The kickoff has gone out of bounds twice. And when that's happening, you're nitpicking, and you got to feel pretty good about your first half of football.
Yeah, if that's all you can say that's going wrong, and you've got almost 40 points up in 2 quarters of football. You're playing a pretty good first half of football, able to run the ball, able to work the passing game. I've been impressed with Columbia. He's not forced any throws. He's looked poised when he's pulled it down and run and pick up yardage with his legs. He's hitting the backs when there's nothing there. He's hitting the check down. You love to see a quarterback go through his progression, and instead of trying to force a ball or just take off running, saying, hey, hit my back for a 3-yard pass, let him get 4 more yards, move the chain. It's now 2nd and 5 versus 2nd and 10.
That's right. It's a 4-2-5 base for Marshall, but right now they're just going to watch Norfolk State take a knee and say mercy. And it's hard to blame them. It's been a half that's all gone right for Marshall. And they've gone in the end zone 5 times in this first half as we count down to double zeros. Your thoughts on this half, partner?
Spartans got to figure out something offensively. It's going to be hard to fight back in this game. They've got to figure out a way to be explosive in the second half.
All Marshall 38-0 over Norfolk State. You're watching college football on ESPN3.
Now here, what is it about your style that everywhere you've been very successful in that aspect of your position?
It's nothing magical, right? You just tell people why, and more importantly, you ask them to help you. And for some reason, you'll run into people who say, no one's ever asked. And, we will ask, and they will help here.
And we're back at it again, kicking off. Another touchback for Marshall. We've got to see now, Chad, thank you, Christian Spears, for joining us. But we've got to find out now if this Norfolk State offense can even move the football. And that's going to be a problem. But getting back to Christian Spears, I want to ask you one more question before we let you go here. Looking at the world of NIL.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's important to have that relationship with the community wherever your school is. How do you see that as being able to move Marshall University into that next level of NIL where they're able to profit and helping keep the community close to this university?
Yeah, I actually think our NIL will work better than anyone else's in a lot of ways. Maybe not the numbers that student athletes are getting, but the involvement that our community will have. Our Thunder Trust has already recruited a ton of dollars, and we're going to be able to put our kids in community service opportunities and get them, what they deserve as they help this community grow.
And if these kids keep playing like this, there should be a lot of NIL opportunities for these guys. Christian, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thanks, Doug.
You're very busy right now, so I know you got to get back to something, man, but I appreciate you taking your time to come on with us.
Appreciate you too, bud. All the best.
Thank you.
We appreciate the athletic director, Christian Spears, doing a great job and bringing so much to this Huntington community and Marshall University. Thank you for joining us, Christian Spears. Chad Bush here alongside Doug Chapman, and just underway. I want your thoughts on the first half quickly, Doug. Let's go back to what you saw in the utter dominating first half.
What I'll go right to is, once again, we talked about the struggles on third down. In the first half, the Spartans were 0 of 6 on third down, and once again, it's third and extremely long. If they can't convert, this game is going to get even more out of hand than it has gotten already.
Kuhn is out there in quarterback. Otto Kuhn's the Eastern Illinois transfer at quarterback. He's got himself in yet another 3rd and long with 4 wide receivers in the set. Pressure coming, steps up, in trouble, and down he goes. Tackled on the backside by Abraham Beauplan, the guy who led this team with 110 tackles a season ago.
Talked about the heat the defensive coordinator, Lance Guidry, likes to dial up. Third down is when he dials it up and you see it come there. Kuhn's unable to even have time to look downfield to find a receiver. 0 for 7 now in the game on third down. Forced to punt it. Marshall's going to come after it. It's only a matter of time until they get to it. And once again, you're giving the guys in green the football back, and they haven't had any issues moving it this afternoon.
No, they haven't. It's Grandin Wilcox's 6th punt of the day as he stands at his 15, nearly nipped again. Keaton back, but this one's going to be corralled just over midfield and shut down by Daquan Felton. So great starting field position in the second half for Marshall. Obviously, they dominated offensively. What were some of the most impressive things, though, that you saw that go back to our storylines where they checked the box?
So Columbia's efficiency. You look at what he did, 23 of 25, had the tipped interception, 199 yards in the first half.
Wow.
Got sacked a couple times, but looked very poised in the pocket. Ethan Payne, over the century mark in the first half, averaging 13 yards a carry, and they've just been efficient. 6 for 8 on third down. Red zone, they're 4 or 5. You can't ask for much more. And then defensively, holding Norfolk State to just 34 yards of passing.
Layburn comes out of the gate hungry, on a mission. He's inside the 30, and that's a pickup of about 20 yards.
And Kalen Layburn himself, he averaged over 6 yards per carry, and they're picking right up where they left off in the first half, literally running the ball directly down Norfolk State's throat.
80 yards now for Layburn as we enter the first offensive drive of the series. So 2 backs that get over 100 yards, something you'd like as we are just across halftime.
And people may not understand where I'm going with this here, but these are actually, when you're a head coach, these games are tougher to coach. I'll tell you why. You know what you got next week. There's a big matchup in South Bend next week. So you're, as a head coach, you have to ask, how long do I play my starters? But a lot of my starters are new faces in new places. I got to see what they can do. You don't want to get anyone injured. So right now, it's a give and take. Do I give them 2 more series? Do I give them 1 more series? Have they got enough work that I can think that they have enough film to get ready for next week? It can be tough coaching in these situations, knowing when to pull your ones.
Layburn stays on his feet, breaks a tackle, breaks some ankles, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Bird! Kalen Layburn with a touchdown run, and this game has reached double fours. 22-yard touchdown run for Layburn, and it's his first touchdown as a member of the Thundering Herd.
He's now over 100 yards, 2 backs over 100 yards. Pretty good day.
Extra point coming up. Excuse me, it's the second touchdown of the day for Layburn. He had that 4-yard touchdown in the third quarter. 44-0, Marshall having their way. Comes the extra point attempt from Reese Verhoff. The snap from Zach Aprio. And the kick is up and good. Out of the hold, number 15, Chase Harrison, as we get another look at this touchdown by Layburn.
Layburn gets free. Excellent balance. You see the cutback ability. Takes it to the house for his second score of the afternoon.
Welcome back to the Jones. Chad Bush alongside Doug Chapman, Marshall Hall of Famer and NFL running back. Partner so far, it's been all Marshall. A lopsided game, but a lot of things have been revealed here this afternoon on the first week of college football.
Yeah, it's been a good afternoon for the home team. And if you're Marshall right now, you have to be pleased at what you've seen if you're head coach Charles Huff. Your quarterback has come out, looked efficient, has not panicked, is not forcing the ball. Offensive line has given him time. Yes, he's been sacked once, but overall they've done well. And they're punching holes in the front of this Norfolk State Spartans defense. Listen, we knew Marshall was the better football team. But a lot of times teams come out and they play down to the level of their competition. Marshall's come out and established themselves and looked how they're supposed to look this afternoon.
Fair catch caught after the boot off the strong right leg of the Columbus Grove native Reese Verhoff. And you talk about Columbia in this offense and a new guy coming in, and Charles Huff was very impressed with how he's handled himself, and as you said, came in late but didn't really force himself on others. He just kind of let himself fit into the team. When that's a leader and that's your quarterback, that's an important characteristic to have.
It's very important, but he's a very mature kid. When you sit down and talk to him, you can see that he's been around football. His father is a high school coach in South Florida. So he's growing up in a football environment. He knows how to carry himself. He knew he was walking into a team where he was the new guy. And he was playing a position which is arguably the most important on a football team, offensively or defensively. And so he came in, he established himself, he didn't force himself on groups, and guys kind of gravitated towards him. And he's done an excellent job taking the reins at quarterback, making everybody around him feel comfortable, and also letting everybody from the staff down know that he's able to handle the task.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do. It's just not easy to do, but it does help having a rushing game that Marshall has had in this game and also last season, of course. Little RPO, the handoff in the backfield, tackled for a loss again. And this time it's the ball carrier number 3. This is the backup running back, Frank Boyd III, the senior out of Richmond, a city you may have heard of, sir.
Yeah, it's my hometown there, and he's talked about the transfer portal, guy from Liberty. He transferred in. But running in the teeth of that Marshall defense, that's not going to work for Norfolk State. They've got to figure something else. If they're going to try to run the football, it's not going to happen in those A-gaps.
They're going to force the Eastern Illinois Panther transfer to the air. Otto Coons, Tony Romo's alma mater. They are known for some gunslingers that have done some things. That one's out of bounds. Well covered on that far sideline. That's great coverage coming out of the way of the safety, Jadarius Green McKnight. And he's a redshirt freshman out of Dunbar High School in Florida and also a transfer from Florida State.
Yeah, him and Kalen LeBourne, also from Florida State, also on this team. Brian Robinson, another Florida State transfer portal guy we haven't seen yet. So the transfer portal in the state of Florida this year has been very good to Marshall University. It's been good to college football. You know, a lot of players have gotten that portal and made things happen for them at their new homes.
3rd and long, 11 and a half left in the third quarter. A quarter that's already belonged to Marshall. They've already found the end zone once. Stop short. Now, do you go for it here? There is a player down. We will have eyes of concern on Tavion Land. And check that. It's Frank Boyd III who is down. And while he is down, we will step aside. So with 11:25 to go, Marshall leading 45-0. You're watching college football on ESPN3. Welcome back to the Joan. My name is Chad Bush alongside Doug Chapman, former NFL running back and University Marshall Hall of Famer. The concern now, though, is on the field. And Doug, Frank Boyd III, a running back, is down, and they brought out the cart. And usually this means it's serious.
You hate to see it. You know, as a former player, you really want to beat the opponent, but you want to beat him and have the opponent be able to walk out of here. You hate to see guys go down with injuries.
Let's take a look at scores around the SBC, the new league for Marshall. Virginia Tech and Old Dominion went at it late last night, and if you stayed up for it, like my partner and I did, Old Dominion comes through, and they win that 20-17, a come-from-behind win. And, of course, the Virginia Tech quarterback, a guy that Marshall fans are quite aware of, a guy that quarterbacked here from a season ago. And Grant Wells was a big part of that game and that storyline. Meanwhile, Ole Miss currently is at halftime leading 21-0. App State lost, but it wasn't without a big fight and a big score. Those teams combined for 124 points and a 63-61 win for North Carolina, but App State making a statement for the SBC. Meanwhile, first quarter action just underway. South Alabama taking on Nichols. Your thoughts, sir?
Honestly, the Virginia Tech ODU score does not surprise me. ODU has always played Virginia Tech pretty good. Actually beat them in Blacksburg, I believe, a couple seasons ago. Wells struggled a bit last night, but very impressive ODU program. Also from the 757 down the street from Norfolk State. Troy and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a good football team. They lost a lot of talent to the NFL. North Carolina and App State, defense optional. Just bring all the offense you got. No one from defense showed up. App State, good football team, and somebody we're going to see down the road. An old Southern Conference foe for this Marshall program in
Yeah.
Nichols in South Alabama just get underway. South Alabama should be able to pull that out and get a W.
SBC, the Sun Belt Conference, as the player is now up and under his own power, and our thoughts are with Frank Boyd III, the reserve running back, who is up. That's a good sign. But back to the Sun Belt Conference, this is a league that Charles Huff and Marshall really feel good about. I know you're excited about it too. They've modeled this league sort of after the SEC. And this is the best group of 5 conference in the nation. Is there anyone disputing that?
No, I don't think anyone is. And I think that ODU showed you that last night by playing a Power 5 opponent and not winning by a fluke. Hung with them for 4 quarters and were able to get the W, playing really good football. And when you talk about the best group of 5 program in the country, the college football playoff now, with the talks of it being expanded to 12 teams, that really helps the Sun Belt Conference. Because if you come out of the Sun Belt, you win the Sun Belt, and you're in the top 12, top 15, you've got a chance now to go to the big dance. And I look back on my college years when I played at Marshall and we finished in the top 10, we were locked into the one bowl game we could go to. And we would win the bowl game, but we never got a chance to really play for the big one. And you never know what can happen in a one-game situation, any given Saturday, any given Sunday in the NFL, they say. And I'd love to see it to where these programs are going to have the chance to match up against your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Florida States, and these premier programs, and you never know what can happen.
That opportunity is going to be more realistic now with the expansion of the college football playoff expansion that has been announced this past fall. And, yeah, what a job that Commissioner Keith Gill has done at the Sun Belt Conference, and really able to model this league after the SEC, but also keep this conference with schools, enhancing the brand of the conference and not losing the geographical rivalries, which was very important. Keith Gill, mastered it.
And they did an excellent job, like you talked about, with spreading the schools out and then keeping those rivalries and then renewing some old rivalries.
Yes.
Marshall and App State, Marshall and Georgia Southern, Marshall and James Madison have history. ODU and
Issues
James
too,
Madison.
you're right.
In-state, in-state, ODU and JMU.
How about this? A burst off the left side. This is a fresh face, and this is Cam Fancher, somebody that Marshall fans are excited about, the 6'1" redshirt freshman out of Huber Heights, Ohio, who explodes for a 27-yard gain.
Second-year quarterback, saw some time last year, but this is what he does very well. He's a lefty, throws the ball well, but when he pulls it down, he's just as dangerous as a running back. You see there, he picks up a big chunk of real estate, and Marshall once again down in the red zone, knocking on the end zone.
Fancher, a southpaw, back to pass. Steps up, wants to run again. Why not? At the 15, on his feet, leaps to the 11. It'll be a gain of 7. And with Marshall trying to cross the half 100 mark, they're well on their way with Fancher.
And looking ahead, if you're Marshall, this is giving Notre Dame something else that they have to look at now. They've got a quarterback that they know can distribute the ball with his arm. Another young quarterback comes in and shows you can do things with his legs. That's extra film time now you have to spend preparing for 2 quarterbacks.
Yes, sir. Play action pass, left side, corner, touchdown, Hurd into the end zone. Number 81, that's Toby Payne. That's the brother of Ethan Payne. 3 touchdowns for the Paynes, and the Herd are rolling in the hills.
Yeah, the Payne family is probably going crazy right now watching this game, if they're in the crowd or watching it on TV, seeing the 2 brothers getting in on the action. Toby Payne, just a freshman, true freshman, gets in, very promising looking tight end, runs very good routes, soft hands, and you see him there on the catch and score. Good night for the Payne boys.
No doubt. And Polka High School, the kick is up, the kick is good. So with an even 10 minutes left in this third quarter, Marshall showing no mercy. 52-0. This is college football on ESPN3 as we keep it right here. Doug Chapman, my partner. My name is Chad Bush. Marshall having their way against the MEAC's Norfolk State. Look, this isn't a feel-sorry story for Norfolk State. They had a winning record last year, went 6-5. They've got an outstanding second-year coach that brings a great staff with him and a lot of history. Norfolk State's going to do some things in the MEAC. This is really not representative of what this program was expected to do this year.
Yeah, obviously they're outmanned today. You get it. But looking at the big picture for Norfolk State, the future is bright. They've got the right guy in charge with head coach Odoms, and with what he's been able to do since he got there, what he's done at every stop, he's able to recruit. They're generating excitement. They've got money coming into the program. They're making it an attractive place for transfer portal guys to come. He's going to build this thing up, and they're going to be a factor in their division. And then down the road, they're going to start jumping out and winning these types of games when they get invited out week 1 to come play FBS programs.
No doubt. There you see the two-headed monster, and no Rasheen Ali you see. But the first half rushing stats gaudy for this tandem.
And LeBourne's gone over 100 yards here now in the second half. And like I said, you got two backs running for over 100 yards. It's a very productive day.
This ball's going to roll into the end zone and be a touchback. But Norfolk State also in the MEAC, and the MEAC taking advantage of their new ESPN deal, which is going to help the conference and additionally help Norfolk State and the Spartans. So here we go. Get a chance to maybe see some different types of defenders for Marshall. Get a chance to see what this Norfolk State team decides to do differently on offense as well.
You know, it's a tough task now as a coach. You're down 52-0 on the road. Nothing you've done offensively works. You can't keep putting your defense out. Defense bailed them out early. And now you can't figure out and get any consistency on offense against a very good defensive front. Colby Cumberlander there. You see him on the tackle. It's kind of finding out what your guys are made of now. You know, what kind of guys do you have? They're going to fold, or you have guys that are going to continue to just keep fighting this thing out and see where it ends.
Lex Henry is in. He's the third stringer behind Davis. And the injured running back who we give well wishings to, and Frank Boyd the third. Handoff right side, tackle for loss. It was Cumberlander on the last play. And he's got a partner in crime up there in Owen Porter. That those two guys just keep bringing it. It's going to be hard to get them off the field. Charles Huff says, I got to throttle it back sometimes. These guys bring it so hard. We got to give them some breaks.
He said they're on 10, even in practice. He said sometimes he's got to take them out of drills because of the practice so that he can actually get the drill done. But that energy is contagious. The defense feeds off of it, and you see players around them making plays. They're fun guys to play football with. You want those type of guys on your team.
Yep. Porter already a touchdown today on a fumble return, a 21-yarder back in the first half. The defense has scored, and the defense has been stingy. A good combo. In trouble, down he goes. 3 tackles for losses, and another fourth down punting opportunity coming. This Marshall defense staying relentless. No mercy right now with 8.5 left in the third.
Norfolk State has no answers on third down. They get themselves in third in unmanageable situations, and they have not converted one this afternoon. When they look at this film, I wouldn't so much focus on the score if I were Norfolk State as figuring out our ills on third down. And how do we fix, first, not getting in third and long situations, and then we have to draw some things up that can get us some chunk plays on third down, because you can't go over on that down. That's the money down.
And that really starts on first down, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
The punt is not blocked yet. And Keaton flirting with picking that thing up, decides otherwise as it's blown dead at the 42-yard line. It's opening football weekend for both these clubs. Doug Chapman and Chad Bush, proud to be with you from Huntington. This is college football on ESPN3. Welcome back to the Joan. His name is Doug Chapman, Marshall Hall of Famer, appropriately enough, on Hall of Fame weekend. Good crowd on hand at the Joan. My name is Chad Bush. Glad to be with you. 52-0 Marshall over Norfolk State. A lot of time left in this third quarter still, Doug. What do you expect to see?
Start to see the backups come in. The number 2, you see Cam Fancher in the last series, very impressive as a runner. You want to see what he can do now with his arm, but you're going to start to see some of the younger talent on this Marshall team, and you're going to see the depth. That's one thing Coach Huff says, you're only as good as your depth. And if you're not deep, It's going to come back and hurt you. It hurt Marshall in the bowl game last year when they played Louisiana. They weren't deep in the D-line. So he went out this season and made sure they recruited, got some guys in the transfer portal. But when you're up 52-0, you're going to start seeing some backups. And they've got some backups that can play some good football.
Cam Fancher going to keep it himself. This is what he does and does well. A burst across the 40, inside the 30. Cam Fancher getting filthy here in the third. Saying I can get loose with my legs and my left arm.
And he'll come out for a play because his helmet came off. We're going to have to send Columbi back into the game. Oh, they've got a player down. Another guy down, unfortunately.
Shavea Williams down, the defensive back, and the senior, the kid out of Norfolk. It was a gain of 39 yards on the play, 34 yards.
And hopefully it's just a deal where you get the wind knocked out of you. If you're Coach Odom's, it's bad enough you got to go on the road and you take a loss like you take. But when you get guys carted off and you not only take that L, but you also lose players for the season or for games down the road, that's when it's a much tougher loss to handle. So you're hoping this is just a deal where he fell on the ground hard, got the wind knocked out of him, and he can walk off under his own power.
We hope the young man is okay. Meanwhile, Norfolk State, a program that will continue to play on the road. They'll play at James Madison next Saturday. As we get a look at Cam Fancher, who had his first career touchdown pass last drive. Fancher fancy with his feet, but this kid can do a couple things. This will give him a chance to show off his arsenal.
Very poised, very calm and relaxed player. Never gets too high, never gets too low. But he's always very focused and locked in on the task at hand.
So new quarterback in there. Looks like
Peter Zamora.
Yeah, Peter Zamora checks in at quarterback.
Freshman.
And just like that, just a little rotation, just a tease, because right back in there comes Cam Fancher. Just trying to throw us off, make sure we're on our early season game. Three wide receivers. Cam, play action, left side, back to his favorite target. And it's quite a day to be a pain. And the pains have been a pain for the Spartans today. Second catch for the true freshman tight end.
Local boys looking good in the home opener. Fakes to the older Payne, rolls out, throws in the flats to the younger Payne, turns upfield, shows good hands, a little stiff arm action there, picks up yardage.
Back to Ethan in the backfield, gets the carry right side. Not much, maybe a yard as we crawl to the 6-minute, 30-second mark. Marshall 52, Norfolk State yet to score. The Marshall defense may be overlooked in this game. They've done some great things and have not given up much after that first play, the pass completion down the seam. There's really been nothing other than a chunk play.
Yeah, as of now, they've pitched a shutout. And you can't ask for more from your defense than keep them out of the end zone. And they've done just that.
Under 50 yards of total offense. Throw into the end zone, left side, incomplete, and a fine play by the corner. Coming up to knock that thing out of the hands of Shadid Ahmed. And it was a fine PBU by number 20 back there for the Spartans.
Yeah, not much left in the corner, the end zone, that corner route by Ahmed. Fancher put that ball where only his receiver could get it, but excellent play being broken up there in the corner of the end zone.
Three wide receivers motion right to left by Payne. Ethan gets the handoff and the call up the middle. And he fights his way to the 10-yard line. And that will set up a field goal opportunity, number 2 in this game, for the redshirt freshman kicker, Reese Verhoff, who will attempt it from the middle of the field, and it would be a 27-yard field goal.
It'll be a 27-yard attempt.
The holder is the punter, John McConnell. The long snapper is Zach Appio out of Normal, Illinois. And the kick is up, and the kick is good. So 2 field goal attempts, 2 field goals for Verhoff, the freshman out of Columbus Grove, Ohio. 55 double nickels to nothing with 5:19 to go in the third. Doug Chapman, it was a frenzy when I pulled in today to the Joan. The fans were raring to go. It was pent-up energy from the New Orleans Bowl last year. A lot of excitement for Charles Huff's program, and these fans have not been let down here this afternoon.
A lot has happened in 2022 with a lot of the changes that went on within the coaching staff, with players. The athletic, a new AD comes in, new president. Actually, Brad Smith, who's a Marshall alum.
That's right.
Comes back home. And there's just been a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz. Movement to a new conference. There was a certain period of time when Marshall didn't think that they were going to be able to get out of Conference USA. And so it's been very exciting week after week. And Christian Spears, who we spoke to earlier, he's delivered. He came in and he said, I'm going to make some changes here. And these changes are going to do nothing but make us look better and boost our profile, because we're going to need to do so as we move into a conference that we see as a step up from where we were. And everybody's been lockstep here. They've done an excellent job, and the team now coming out doing what they're supposed to do in their home opener.
Yeah, and you mentioned what they're supposed to do. This is also a program that has a tradition that expects to win. And some programs don't have that. And Spears came here and said, look, this fan base expects you to win. Charles Huff said they expect you to win. Some people from the outside may say, well, it's Marshall. Yeah, but Marshall has had a winning culture and winning success for a long time in a storied history. And it's something perhaps that Huff and Spears may feel a little bit more pressure than some others from the outside might expect.
Kickoff goes out of bounds there, unfortunately, but you hit the nail on the head. Anybody that's been following and paying attention to college football knows what Marshall has done in the past. And the fan base at Marshall, the coaches, the players, like you said, they don't go out hoping to win games. They expect to win games. They expect to have winning seasons. They expect to go to bowl games and win bowl games. Not every program can say that. Some programs, their players take the field and they say, let's hope we get lucky today. That's not the mentality at Marshall. They look to win every game, and you're right, they've done a lot of winning here, and they look to do a lot more.
You were a part of some winning programs here yourself, along with your teammate Chad Pennington, your teammate Randy Moss, some of the golden years of Marshall
Had some
football.
good years. Had some good nights out here, man.
Sure did. Tore through the Mid-American Conference on their way to several MAC titles coming out of the city of Detroit. That MAC championship. Roll right, and the run right, rather, is out of bounds, forced out. Jalen Adams, the quarterback, back in with the keeper. Otto Coons will sit this drive. And I'm a bit surprised Norfolk State has been as impatient or hasn't gone to Adams, a guy that can do multiple things, where Coons is more of a one-dimensional guy.
You know, they put him in earlier on an exchange of pace, but they're also evaluating what they have. You know, maybe they wanted to go with Coons and just see exactly what he could give them. No, they're not going to get the win, but let's see what we got at quarterback. And now it's time to make a change. They probably tried to call some plays to see if Coons could operate and make the plays efficient. But when you're down this big, you got to give something a shot.
Yep. Three-step drop over the middle, curl route caught. It's a first down. It's just the third first down of the game for the Spartans, and their first of the second half. It does get them near Marshall territory, a place that they have not been in yet today.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this Norfolk State coaching staff is evaluating that quarterback position. You've got two transfer portal guys there. You really don't know if which one's going to be your guy. So let's put on some film and really evaluate this game and see which one made our offense go the best.
Adams transferred in the offseason from the Citadel. Dual threat guy, 2-year starter there, and a guy they like in the RPO situation. Handoff up the middle, fight forward for a couple, drug down at the bottom of the pile. And you see big number 32, Kobe Cumberlander, all over that play.
And Norfolk State has gone with Jordan Lennon at running back. Freshman, 5'10", 200-pounder. Not sure if J.J. Davis is nicked up or if they just, like I said, just evaluating, seeing what they've got on their roster and seeing who can and can't play.
So they've arguably lost 2 of their top 4 running backs, the top of the depth chart. There's a floater down the left side. Nice pass caught inside the 15, down to the 10. Nice pitch and catch there. And the haul-in job by Jason Wonodi, the true freshman out of Brockton, Massachusetts. with a big play here and their best chunk play of the day.
29 Caleb Horton beaten on this here, and that's what they need. You got to boost some confidence. You're not going to get out of here with a W. But if you can get out of here and you find a player that can help that offense go, Jalen Adams has seemed to come in and create a little bit of a spark.
39-yard reception on the play. Fine pass from Adams, the Johnson City, Tennessee native. 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Spartans trying to get in the zone. Slant route, and that one's thrown on a couple of hops to the backstop, and it'll set up 2nd and long.
And that's not his strong suit, honestly, is precision passing. Adams, more of a triple option quarterback at the Citadel. That's what they run there. Very elusive, but he's not going to sit in the pocket and dictate to the defense what they do with his arm. You want to get him out on the edge, some RPOs, but so far he's got the offense moving and putting them in position to score.
Late move over by Balogan to the left side, and he's going to help stuff and contain that edge. Nothing doing. Tackle for loss. Credit it to number 65 up front. And 3rd and long. Adams in the shotgun. Perhaps 4-down territory. Changing the play at the line. Keeps it, and it fools nobody. In particular, number 1, Charlie Gray, coming up from that linebacker spot. The Edwardsville, Kansas native stayed home.
Very active linebacker, Charlie Gray. A little undersized, but what he lacks in size, he makes up for it in speed. And you see him there with excellent closing speed, able to bring down the very elusive Jalen Adams. Adams gets out of that tackle 9 times out of 10, but not that time. Charlie Gray there stops him for the loss.
Wilcox with a 30-yard attempt, and it's blocked. Blocked, and it's not over yet. Marshall wants more. Into the arms of E.J. Jackson up the left side. Jackson out of bounds, but not before the special team says, hey, we want to get on the board too.
E.J. Jackson, another Florida product from Belglade, Glade Central High School. And I felt it all afternoon. They're going to get one of these kicks. They're either going to block a punt, but they block a field goal, preserve the shutout so far for the defense. E.J. Jackson on the return.
All 3 phases have been dominant today in Huntington for Marshall. And with 42 seconds left, 55-0 Marshall. Let's take a look ahead to next week. And Marshall at Notre Dame. And the matchup between these two clubs, not a location Marshall's been to often. They'll look for a special opportunity up at the Golden Dome next Saturday.
Touchdown Jesus. Yeah, it's going to be a tough task for the Thunder and Herd, but the good thing that they have in their favor is that Notre Dame plays Ohio State tonight. If that game gets out of hand and you get a pretty down Notre Dame team, you catch them slipping at home, you never know what can happen.
That's right. There was an offsides. That's why we're doing this again. So the Spartans will get a chance to scratch the surface with 42 seconds left, and not yet.
Let's see if they can block it again.
Timeout. Norfolk State.
That shutout means a lot to Charles.
Oh, yeah. Defense loves
First
shutout.
charge timeout of the
He's an
half.
offensive guy by trade.
He is.
This is a guy that used to doodle and dream of plays. As an offensive play caller in school, his teachers used to say, hey, what are you doing? I'm drawing plays. Loves play calling. But he has to appreciate this pitch out right now, 55-0.
And he's still coaching hard. You see him down there? Up 55-0, still coaching hard. And let's look at this matchup again that Marshall has next week.
Pretty even, partner.
Pretty even there. You know, it's going to be an intimidating environment, but I think that the team that Charles Huff has mentally is prepared to go into that type of environment I watched a couple of those practices, and they're very intense. They practice in game-like situations every day. He puts his players in high-stress situations to see how they react. So when they get to Saturdays feel easy because practice is harder than the actual game. So none of the players will be intimidated. The moment won't be too big. It'll be very interesting to see.
Well, with the music playing in the background, the kick is up and good. 38 seconds left, and Norfolk State takes advantage of the offsides and cashes in. We'll take a timeout. We're back in Huntington in a moment. 55-3, all Marshall. You're watching college football on ESPN3. And we will actually keep it right here. And Doug Chapman, a special day to get this season underway. All the anticipation, the new conference, a new running back, at least in the interim, a new quarterback. A lot of questions that have been answered. Is there anything that really hasn't been answered here today by Marshall with an affirmative, yes, things are better and positive?
Honestly, I think that they've checked every box. I don't know if they've filled every box in.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that you want to be able to come out and run the football. Check. You want to be efficient in the passing game and not turn it over. They had 1 turnover. Check. You want to look sound in the kicking game. They kicked 3 out of bounds. Little check.
Yeah.
Defensively, you want to look strong up front. You want to cover on the back end. Check. The thing is, it's against a Norfolk State team. So you have to look at this and say, we did all these things very well on Saturday, but it's going to be harder to do against a Notre Dame, against an Appalachian State, against a Louisiana, against a Georgia Southern. But what you like is that they came out and they performed, and they played the way that they were coached to play.
Yep. Wilcox with a short pooch. If you're a Marshall fan, are you rooting for Notre Dame tonight, or are you hoping they fall?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because if they win, then they're a team that's going to be 1, 2, or 3 in the nation when Marshall plays them. But if they lose and they go out and get beat 55-0, this is a team that has a new head coach. Some players transferred out. They've got some changes there. So they're still trying to find out what works for them. You go on the road and you get hammered like that on national TV, and you also put yourself out of the college football playoff equation. You don't know what kind of emotional state they're going to be in the next week. Are they going to really be up for Marshall after going through that? So it's a double-edged sword there. You want them to win so they boost their profile, but then you also want them pretty beat up when you get hold of them.
Expectations high for Marshall this year. Charles Huff saying that he's excited to see how our culture is tested. What is the culture here? What do you get a sense that the culture is that he has already instilled in just over a year of being here?
I know that Charles Huff has adopted the blue-collar mentality of not just this city, but the state of West Virginia. There's a lot of very hard-working people here and people that are very proud of what they do, and they're proud of this football team, and he wants his football team to reflect the people in this community. They've done a great job this afternoon.
A lot to be proud of if you're a Marshall fan here this afternoon in Huntington. 55-3 as we end the third quarter. Get your 4 fingers in the air. Let's go to the fourth. This is college football on ESPN3. Welcome back to the opening week of football here in Huntington at the Joan. My name is Chad Bush, alongside Marshall Hall of Famer and former NFL running back Doug Chapman. We also want to thank our hardworking crew for getting us off the ground today. Special thanks to our producer Jake Griffith and the hard work they've had all season long, and it's been a short season, but a quick turnaround for our production crew. They called a big soccer match yesterday with Marshall knocking off Pitt, an upset. Number 11 beats number 2 or 3, I believe, in the Spears Bowl, as they called it.
Yeah, the local joke here is that Marshall is now a soccer school. They won the national championship a couple of years ago, and now they're in the top 10 again, I'm sure, after knocking off Pitt. But excellent soccer program they have here, and the future is extremely bright in the other football.
That's right.
At Marshall.
Partner some substitutions. Peter Zamora, it appears, is checked in at quarterback. And A.J. Turner is checking in at running back, the true freshman A.J. Turner, who has the football now up the right side. The freshman leaps over a defender, stays on his feet, and blows over a DB at the 50 and says, there's a couple tools in my tool belt, folks.
Very exciting young runner. Was an early enrollee here in January. Went to Life Christian Academy in Chester, Virginia. Extremely athletic and is a glider. I mean, he gets out in space and he can do things that are dynamic. He will jump over you. And he's got speed to take it the distance. The future is very, very bright in the backfield at Marshall University.
Did we mention that we have not seen Rasheen Ali today? And yet we've seen 3 or 4 running backs that won't make you forget about Mr. Rasheen Ali. But look at this drive and fight. And a drag. And we're seeing the power run game to go with the speed and athleticism of the true freshman, A.J. Turner.
Very impressive young runner. Watched some of his high school film, and you can see why Marshall was very high on him and wanted to get him here early, get him into the program and get him coached up. And Coach Telly Lockett, the running back coach, has just done an excellent job with guiding him and utilizing his skills to put him in the best position to make plays.
He's in a groove now, and he'll cut back inside and use some of that strength. We do have Chase Harrison is now checked in at quarterback.
Looks like Pennington has now entered the game. Son of Chad Pennington is now in at quarterback.
Okay. Well, that's a familiar name around here. Colt Pennington, the true freshman out of Versailles, Kentucky.
Yeah, his dad was pretty good.
Chad Pennington
I know him a little bit.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I've met the guy a couple times.
The former New York Jet and Player of the Year in the Mid-American Conference. And your former QB. What can you tell us about Chad Pennington that a lot of folks around here already know that we do not know or may not know about him, that would maybe surprise us?
Well, we came in
that
on
you
the
can say
same.
on air.
We came in on the same recruiting visit.
Okay.
He's one of my best friends. I've been friends with him since 1995. We were roommates on the road, and I have to tell you a funny story about a toothbrush.
Okay.
One day, if you ever ask him, if you ever meet him, say, Doug Chapman told me to ask you about a toothbrush. He'll break down laughing, man. It's a running joke we have, man, and he's a great guy, like amazing father. Actually coaches at the Sayre School right outside of Lexington. Coached his son Cole.
Sure.
And Cole, when you meet him, he's just as engaging as his father. You can tell him and Robin, his mother, they did an excellent job raising the young man. But Chad Pennington is all this advertised, man. They don't make many guys like him.
He used to have some of the best flow ever. I can recall watching from Mount Pleasant thinking, man, this guy's got some great hair.
It's still up there. Some of it's still there.
Okay. All right.
It's about 60% of it's still there.
60%.
I can't talk. All mine is gone.
Yeah, but you wear it well. Some guys can wear it well without hair, and some guys don't. You nailed it, partner. There's a run up the middle that's nailed. And just shy of the first down. It's going to be fourth and about a foot or so. We've got another injury on the field, and this time it's number 34, Cameron Lewis, the redshirt freshman out of Woodbridge, Pennsylvania. While we've got a timeout on the field, Marshall with 55 points up. Doug, it's been the opening game that you would hope for if you're a Marshall fan. Looking ahead to next week, Notre Dame, but looking ahead a little bit further in the Sun Belt Conference, how much do you have to start game planning for your conference opponents at this point, knowing that you have some chicken left on the bone with non-conference and big opponents, but how much work is being done on SBC opponents right now if you're Marshall?
What happens is you have to first find what you do well, and things that you don't do well, you have to protect that going into conference play while watching, hey, what do they do well? I didn't watch the Appalachian State UNC game, but apparently Appalachian State can score some points. So, your defense going in that game has got to be dialed in. But when you come out, it comes down to fundamental football. Don't turn it over. You got to be efficient on third down, and you've got to be able to run the ball, and you have to stop the run up front. If you can make plays outside of that, operating in that structure, you're going to have success whether you're playing Notre Dame or whether you're playing Troy.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said. Pennington still in there, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. They're going for it on 4th down. The handoff is to the true freshman who has it off the right side. There's some new faces on that offensive line, but Pennington gets him a 1st down and inside the red zone. And we get another new face or 2 in there, including the running back, Maurice Jones, the true freshman out of Miami in Killian High School.
Affectionately known as Smoke is his nickname, is what they call him. They said they call him Smoke because he'll put a move on you, and next thing you know, you can see Smoke because he's running right by you. Very shifty back. Watched him play high school football down in South Florida. He's got a relationship with running back coach Telly Lockett, and this kid can go.
Zamora back in there, hands off, and he is going. And he's going in and out of defenders and making a miss. You weren't lying. Smoke has some smoke behind him. And with 10 minutes left, Marshall trying to show off a few more assets.
Very elusive back, and we have now seen Ethan Payne run the ball, Kalen Layburn run the ball. We're now seeing Jones. We've seen Turner. I mean, how many running backs do these guys have that can play? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of schools that's got 4 or 5 guys in the backfield, but everyone they've put out today has shown some skill. So the running back depth is there, and that just goes to, like I said, recruiting and developing players. Starts with the head coach with Coach Charles Huff, and then Coach Telly Lockett getting these guys in here and finding out what they do well, what they don't do well, fine-tuning them. So when we see them on Saturday, they look like they could also start as well. And people watching this game, you'll look at the rushing numbers. Let's not forget the best back in college football is not playing today.
1,400 yards a season ago, 25 touchdowns, and he has added absolutely nothing to the gaudy offensive rushing attack for Marshall. This is college football on ESPN3. Welcome back to the Joan. Marshall trying to add another and cross the 60-point plateau with some reserves in there and being led right now by quarterback Peter Zamora. Guy with a quick release and flicks it up here, but some miscommunication as he was looking for E.J. Horton, the sophomore wide receiver out of Louisville, and that'll set up a 2nd down and long.
Zamora, another one of those freshmen, early enrollee, got on campus in January and really got in there and learned the offense. Now you see Cade Cunningham, another one of these young quarterbacks, getting in here. Everybody's going to get on here and get a little taste tonight.
Handoff up the middle, spin, and a fall forward. That's number 27. That's Maurice Jones. And 3rd down here. So Marshall playing a few quarterbacks in this quarter. With about 8:14 left. Possessions winding down. This is not the pace that we expect to see Marshall play with most of the year. This is a high-paced offense that offensive coordinator Clint Trickett is going to try to push this year with pace.
And also, we talked about evaluation. Coach Huff is big on letting his players know you are constantly being evaluated. And right now, they're getting a good chance to evaluate some of these young freshmen that may have to play a lot down the stretch. This is football. People get hurt. It's a rough sport. So when you're able to get your young players into game action, live game action, see how they perform, see how they diagnose, see how they respond under pressure, it helps you because that young player may have to go into the game down the road.
No doubt. Marshall has surpassed the 500-yard mark in total offense. It's 4th down and 4-down territory. Over the sidelines to get the play call is Cade Cunningham, the 6'4", 195-pound redshirt freshman out of Wake Forest, North Carolina. They let him get out of Deacon territory. And he takes a knee. Classy move by Charles Huff, who's looking to go to 6-0 against Norfolk State. And they'll turn it over on downs. Huff is... look, a guy that played offensive line, played center, played all kinds of positions. And against a former MEAC opponent, he's merciless today here in Huntington. We're back with college football right after this. Sun Belt, another game going on. South Alabama has added another score. They're now leading 27-0 in the second quarter, as South Alabama's Webb has 13 carries, nearing 100 yards. A big day for another Sun Belt Conference team. Norfolk State now with a football, trying to get their first touchdown of the afternoon. Chad Bush and Doug Chapman with you high above the Joan on this Saturday evening, opening week of college football in Huntington, West Virginia.
South Alabama program looking to rebound, went 5-7, finished second to last year to Arkansas State in their division. They're looking to make some noise. Tough over there with Louisiana still coming back. Very tough football team that beat Marshall in the New Orleans Bowl.
Yeah, that's a fine group there. And a very competitive Sun Belt Conference. It's split up amongst divisions. You have the East and the West. Handoff up the middle and a big hole on that left side. And a strong gain by number 44. That's Jalen White, the redshirt freshman out of Hampton, Virginia.
Phoebus High School, a very good high school program down there. Looking down the roster for Norfolk State, they're keeping a lot of kids at home. Their roster is very heavily 7'5", kids from right those high schools right there in Hampton, that Tidewater area, Virginia Beach. I'm telling you, there's a lot of talent down there in football, and Coach Odoms and company can really get those guys and build a fence around there and keep them home. They're going to make a lot of noise in the MEAC.
And there's also an opportunity there now with some schools, this transfer portal, which has been an area that has had so much success. Norfolk State sort of right in the middle of perhaps getting some of those guys in the portal that are coming from high majors or other Division I's.
What you have to look at if you're in a talent-rich area like that, if you're in Norfolk State, is that a lot of players are going to go to Power 5 schools. There's a lot of good high school football players. They're going to leave that area and go to Ohio State. They're going to go to Michigan. They're going to go to Florida State. Not all of them are going to have great experiences there. And often they're going to want to come back home and play football. And Norfolk State's sitting right there. So you may not initially get a player, but 2 to 3 years later, you may get a guy who's been coached up. He's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger. You can plug him in and he can really help your program.
Yeah, no doubt. That's right, Doug. And we've seen that at Marshall as an example, at a different level, a higher level, but the same system applies to a school that is an FCS school such as Norfolk State. So we've got a third down coming up.
And those have not been friendly downs for the Spartans today.
No, it has not. They've converted just 3 of them in this ball game. A lot of reserves out there for Marshall. Some reserves out there. But these minutes matter, especially for the quarterback, Jalen Adams, the transfer from the Citadel, who's trying to convert here with 4 wide. Handoff, backfield, tackle for loss. Pounded by number 22. And no, it's not Rasheen Ali. That's Kerrion Martin, the safety, the redshirt sophomore out of Charleston, West Virginia, in Capital High School. And it's 4th down and perhaps punting time.
Another local player right down the road in Charleston, 45 miles down the road. Marshall's doing a good job of scouring not just the nation, but the state of West Virginia. There's some very good high school football played in this state, and Marshall's done a really good job at finding those players and keeping them home. Kerrion Martin, an example of that. Very productive high school player, all-state selection. They've gotten him here. He's a big safety, runs well, will hit you in the mouth. Very good football player.
How much is stealing a kid, so to speak, in the state of West Virginia away from that other school important? Yeah.
It's very important because those are the 2 main schools, Division I. So if you can get a good player, it's going to really help your program. So it's very competitive.
Marshall mauling Norfolk State. This is college football on ESPN3. Minutes, 11 seconds to go. You'll want to stick around afterwards. Second-year head coach Charles Huff at his press conference. He'll have a lot to say about this lopsided win over Norfolk State.
And there's no low energy coming from that man. Trust me now. Hey, you're going to want to stick around and listen to this press conference. Coach Huff is one of those coaches that when he's talking to you, makes you want to slap some pads on and go run some plays for him. And he can get you fired up.
He's hard not to lean in on and just get engaged with. He just is so relatable to so many people, and it's hard not to like Charles Huff, the second-year bench boss for the Marshall Thundering Herd, a guy that was hired in January of 2021. Big personality, booming voice. He's got a great sense of humor. He's put a lot of running backs in the NFL. He worked for Nick Saban, worked at Alabama. I mean, this was a wonderful hire by Marshall, and it just gets validated by the game.
And he's a product of all of the different environments he's been in, going back to his upbringing. Small town, mother and father very influential. Then he goes to college at Hampton, Norfolk State's rival.
Yep.
Plays football there. Coach Joe Taylor was his head coach there. A very, very storied head coach at the HBCU level. And then he goes on his journey and he spends some time with the Bills and goes to Tennessee State. And then he's with Franklin. And then he's with Fleck. And then he's with Nick Saban. And don't go into Mississippi State. All of these different environments that he's been in, he's been able to soak things up. Talk about soaking things up. Smoke Jones soaking up yards here. Telling you, man, watch out for that little guy.
It's a crowded backfield.
Very good running back.
Man.
But getting back to Coach Huff, and when you meet him and talk to him, he's, like I said, just a product of all of those different environments he's been. As much as he teaches, he learns as well. And he likes to soak up knowledge from people. And I tell you, man, he's extremely engaging personality. Marshall hit a home run with that hire.
Yeah, you hit on an interesting point. You throw the humility in there that this guy has and the relatability, and he's an old soul.
Yeah.
You mentioned, 36 years young?
Might be 38 now.
Okay.
He don't want to tell you that, though.
Oh, boy. Well, maybe somebody can ask him in that press conference.
Yeah.
Marshall on their final drive of the day with $1:20 left from the Joan. On this Saturday evening in beautiful Huntington, West Virginia, on the campus of Marshall University.
And it's tough. You're not trying to run it up, but you got running backs like Maurice Jones in the backfield who just keep eating up chunks of yard. He wants to get in. You hand it to him, he just might pop one.
Pennington hands off to Smoke, and he is going to take it across for yet another first down as we take it under a minute. And what has seen a Marshall team score on offense through the air, on the ground, despite not having the All-American from a year ago and the freshman Rasheen Ali. And they've also scored with the defense and had a block on the special teams. It's been a all-encompassing, complete attack for Marshall today.
Still some things they're going to want to work on. I guarantee you Coach Huff will drill those things in because he understands how big this one is next week. He's played in some big games, coached in some big games, and he'll have those guys ready. So excellent win by the Thundering Herd today. They look great.
Partner, it's been a pleasure. His name is Doug Chapman. My name is Chad Bush. We want to thank Jake Griffith, your producer. On Hall of Fame Day, it has been a Hall of Fame performance by Marshall, who gets the win. It's now official, 55-3 over Norfolk State. Charles Huff's Thundering Herd go to 1-0. Norfolk State 0-1. It's Notre Dame next week for the Thundering Herd, and Norfolk State will take on James Madison. Your thoughts, partner, on this complete game victory for the Marshall Herd?
Besides the few kicks out of bounds, they looked very sound on offense. They were able to run the ball, establish the tempo there. I was impressed with Columbia, keeping the offense moving, not forcing throws. Excellent play calling by Clint Trickett. Efficient, 24 of 26, getting the ball out quick. Very impressive. Then defense, man, they just looked stout. They got after the quarterback. Sacks, tackles for losses, interceptions. It was almost a flawless victory. Almost got the goose egg, but they got a field goal on the board.
Marshall does it on the ground, in the air. Columbia just 2 misses, throws for a touchdown. Some other fellas got in the run game. Really, the story early was Payne with that 45-yard touchdown run to get the first touchdown. LeBurn would come in and get a couple touchdowns himself. Another Payne would score. Another Payne would score. I mean, just a full total win today. Marshall, with some things to be excited about headed to South Bend next weekend.
A lot to be excited about. Best thing is that they're healthy. Not a lot of guys got nicked up today. You're going to love that.
Thank you so much for watching. Your final score, Marshall 55, Norfolk State 3. For my partner, Doug Chapman, my name's Chad Bush. So long, everybody.